Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another of the lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office selection. And now today for Saturday, we actually begin both at morning prayer and at evening prayer. We begin new Old Testament readings with new books that we're going to be reading from. At evening prayer, we're reading from the beginning of the book of Samuel. And of course, we hear the story of Hannah in that one at the very beginning of the book. But we also have the book of Daniel starting for morning prayer. So let's take a look at the reading from the book of Daniel. But of course, I encourage you to read the beginning of Samuel as well. So Daniel 1, beginning at verse number 1. In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and the king's seed, and the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. For as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now, at the end of the days, the king he should bring them in. Then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. Okay, so interesting. So we have the beginning in this particular book of Daniel, the story of course, Daniel being the main character, but it's wrapped up in the historical reality that there was a time known as the Babylonian exile. The king of Babylon, in this case Nebuchadnezzar, conquers the people of Israel, and it's because of their disobedience of the people in following the original covenant. The first wave of the conquering, Nebuchadnezzar asked to take the best of the people of Israel and bring them so that he could use them for the advancement of his kingdom. And we hear about the particular Daniel and his siblings, that in fact they were the glory of Israel, and that God is going to end up using them to protect the people of Israel, and in effect help Nebuchadnezzar in order to do that. Nebuchadnezzar is God's vessel, even though he's not a member of the covenant. God is using Nebuchadnezzar to accomplish his means unfortunately, through the conquest of the country of Israel. But interesting, you notice they also took all the vessels, and that'll play a big part in the story later on of the return and the rebuilding of the temple. And we had a little bit of an allusion to that in the book of Maccabees as well. So anyway, so hold on tight. The story of Daniel's a good one, and of course everybody knows the story about the lion's den, but there's even so much more of that, the writing on the wall that Daniel interprets. So it's all good. So anyway, so that's the lesson. So today, no public worship at St. John's, but we're getting ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to be celebrating the Holy Communion at 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, morning prayer at 7:30, 5:30 evening prayer with communion. And it is the last Sunday for our Edwards organ scholar, Abe Wallace. Abe is moving on to another position. This is a 2-year position for the organ scholar, 2 to 3 years, but Abe won a special scholarship from the Association of Anglican Musicians, and so he's going to be doing another year at St. George's in Nashville. So we have a chance to bid Abe a farewell before he heads off to his new position in Nashville. So I do hope that you will join us in church to worship, to receive the sacrament, and to wish Abe the best of luck. May your Saturday be full of blessings.